Hi everyone, my name is Angela, and I wanted to just share with you some of the things that are covered under the First Amendment, some of the things that are not covered under the First Amendment. And given the climate today and the things that we're seeing with all of these riots all over the place, I wanted to start with some of the things that are not covered. We see that there is a lot of anti Semitism happening across the U.S. Primarily, this is happening with students. I am one of these people that do not believe that these students are capable of funding and organizing so quickly and, again, in such an organized fashion, so many people all across the U.S. I think there are certainly larger factors. And if you have seen my feed lately, you certainly know that I am not a Democrat. I do believe that a lot of the funding for these things come from far left wing factions, the Muslim Brotherhood, George Soros, the Democrat Party. So there's a reason why chaos happens in election years when you have a Democrat Party. And I also just want to say that, the Democrats don't practice as if they are a constitutional democracy. We have a constitutional republic. They are supposed to be a constitutional democracy, meaning we all follow the limitations of our founding document, which is the US Constitution. They just practice democracy. In a democracy, they are elected rulers and they are not limited by any laws or regulations. So that's why you see all the chaos that you see, in my humble opinion, in my personal belief. Um, Under a constitutional republic, you can see that we really do value our Constitution and the rights that we are given underneath of that Constitution. We really believe in it, especially some of those of us that are, the cult or the dangerous ones, the MAGA cult, as they say. Typically we are patriots because we have served our country. We have protected our freedoms. We've signed the piece of paper, the oath, and stated the oath that says that for the rest of our lives, we will protect and defend. And I think that that's very strong within us. Um, our country is very diverse. We have lots of different religions, lots of different people that believe lots of different things. And generally, that's okay. But when you have folks here that have a fundamental difference in terms of their overall belief system, that is a problem. And you're looking at that right now. You're seeing people that are saying, they're on American soil chanting "Death to America." Some of them are students. I believe some of them are not. Some of them are agitators and very well could be Hamas. One of them said, "I am Hamas." So if you are Hamas, that is definitely the enemy on our territory. And for this to spread, it is a big, huge problem. If you know anything about the Quran or the doctrines of deceit, and what typically happens when you get a percentage of folks that do believe in some of the more radical ideologies associated with that particular religion, you have a massive, massive problem on your hands. So good for Speaker Mike Johnson to step out today and talk about this. He is a Jewish man. He's standing up in front of these pro Hamas rioters today. By the way, insurrectionists. If you don't do U.S. government what I want you to do, then I'm going to do everything I can in my power with all of my mob to overturn, the rule of law and everything that it stands for, and everything that you stand for. But I won't go on too much of a tangent there. Just wanted to kind of give you a heads up that you're really dealing with an ideology that is very dangerous. And they've started out by treating the Jewish folks this way, a much smaller population, the American Jews in here in America. Certainly, they know better than to try that on with the larger American population. The First Amendment does not protect certain things. And some of those things, as I mentioned, are incitement. You cannot incite violence. I'm sorry, but running around chanting "Death to America" could perpetuate the incitement of violence. Harassing physically and emotionally Jewish students is certainly incitement, defamation. They're calling them pigs, these Jewish students. As far as I can see, they're beautiful young men and women, and they don't deserve to be called pigs, much like our officers don't deserve to be called pigs. Fraud, of course, obscenity, child pornography, fighting words, and threats. So incitement, defamation, fraud, obscenity, child pornography. Of course, the distribution thereof is not the expression of the freedom of speech. You cannot distribute child pornography. So child pornography, the distribution thereof, any fighting words, and of course, again, threats, chanting death to America, from the river to the sea is a statement that's been made. What it means to them is that they would like to see Israel wiped off the face of the earth. So that is sort of equivalent in my mind to chanting death to America. They do not believe in Western culture and Western values or civilization. They practice the Quran, which tells them that if there are any to the West, we don't believe in Allah. We believe in God. So anybody that doesn't believe in Allah are considered infidels and they must die. And they practice via the doctrines of deceit. If you look in pre-AP times, if you go back in history and you study it, you see that the way that these folks came and conquered the Middle East and Africa and different places is they came in peacefully under the guise of we're going to be your friend. They learned animal husbandry. They learned their practices and what they do. And then when they knew that they were the majority, the faction of them that were radicalized killed all of the individuals that did not believe in the Quran. So this is just the way that they practice. So, look, I'm not going to sit here and try to pick on every single person. I know that there can be defectors, from any country, from any religion. Look at the Democrats. They're defectors from America. I swear they don't believe in any American values themselves. But that's just my humble opinion. So again, you are not protected under the First Amendment for incitement, defamation, fraud, obscenity, child pornography, the distribution thereof, fighting words, and threats. Those things are not protected. These protesters are not peaceful, as AOC, the bartender, would like to have everybody believe. And so that is just false information, once again, coming from the left, and it's really unfortunate. So I also wanted to cover just a few bits and pieces as it relates directly to what is covered under the First Amendment. And just so I don't miss something, I'm going to type up find my little typing here. And so there are 5 things that are protected under the First Amendment, and those things are, there are 5 freedoms that are covered under the First Amendment, and those are the freedom of religion. So everybody has the right to practice their religion, of course, the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, and the freedom of assembly, and also the freedom to petition the government with grievances. So there are processes to petition the government if you don't agree with what's going on. We hold meetings with our officials. We write letters to our congressmen. We do all kinds of things, but you don't just get to go and form mobs and demand that things be just what you want them to be. Peaceable assembly typically comes with a permit. I'm not sure if these folks have permits to be blocking the Golden Gate Bridge and just doing all of the things that they're doing. I don't believe for 1 minute that college students are organizing this quickly. I don't believe for 1 minute that they are funding these riots across the U.S. I believe that there are far left factions that are contributing to these things. There are billionaires, of course, on the left that contribute billions of dollars every year to these schools, these indoctrination stations. Parents are certainly paying for their children to go to school and learn, but that's not what happened. These people are becoming indoctrinated in these schools. And now Joe Biden wants us, the taxpayers, to pay for all of these student loans. And, it's quite sweet that the government gets to collect from the taxpayer all of the money And, it seems like a win win for the Democrat Party, because not only did they successfully get to indoctrinate all of our children, but then we also have to pay for it, even if it's not our child and we didn't go to school. Never mind the rest of us who paid off our student loans, right? So, anyway, again, those five rights that you have are freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and freedom of assembly. It's a little, I think it's tough for everybody. I think it's sometimes more tough for those of us who served in the military to see some of the things that happen. The burning of the flag is something that people don't believe is covered under the First Amendment, but it is actually an expression of free speech. So it is covered in the law that I've read. It's not nice to watch by any means, and you feel like you just want to evict that person and get them out of there. It's very it's just incitement in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. But you're certainly, again, not allowed to go around chanting "Death to America." If you're going to run around chanting "Death to America," if in my opinion, it doesn't matter if you're a college student, if you're a college teacher or not. I feel like you should be kicked out of this country until you understand to have some respect for it. Because if these people were over in the Middle East, any one of these women or men over in the Middle East chanting death to whatever country or disobeying their decorum and their values, they wouldn't be here today to talk about it. So they are free to enjoy their freedom of speech here, but they are not free to incite violence and become the great insurrectionists here in our country. They called the J6ers the insurrectionists. We hear about it all the time, but they're the ones who were burning things down and, still burning things down. And, there's lots of loss of life for our thin blue line. And, we have to get our National Guard involved at some point here, I'm sure, because there are these camps. So they're the dangerous ones. This is not healthy. And these teachers, by the way, are not well. These teachers are disgusting human beings, and they should not have a job. Frankly, I believe they all should be in jail for a lengthy period of time. We didn't pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for our students to be indoctrinated in these prized institutions. Um, you know, and so now all of these people who have no idea what Hamas really is, little girls out there, what is Hamas? Oh, I don't know. Why are you rioting? I don't know. But they're out there chanting, "I am Hamas," and "Death to America," with people that would actually do that to America, who have been raised since they were a baby to believe that the Western culture is evil and it needs to be exterminated. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on the First Amendment stuff going on here. It really irritates me to see people say, "Oh, it's my First Amendment right." No, it's not your First Amendment right to run around treating beautiful Jewish students like trash. And I'll tell you, a lot of those Jewish students, if they're old enough, know a lot of the Jewish teachers have voted Democrat all their life. I'm not a Democrat, but you know what? Those are beautiful people still. And I just can't see anybody treating people like that. That's not America. That's not who we are supposed to be today. That's not what I served my country for. I didn't actually go to war, but if I had to, I would have. I signed up for it. So, that's not what I signed up for. Joe Biden can't make his way out of his bed by himself at the White House. He certainly can't find his way off his stage without falling down. He's not addressing the riots that are taking place right now. AOC is still stuck behind the bar. I don't think she has a third grade education, let alone anything else, to be telling us that these are peaceful protests. Yet J6 is somehow some insurrection.